Okay, let's dive into this. We're cracking open a hidden vault today. We are exposing the raw, completely unfiltered truth of how political power actually operates in autocracies. Honestly, you can forget your old political science textbooks. What we're looking at today is the dictator's source code.
Picture a dictator. You're probably thinking of a solitary, strong man in a dark room, barking orders, ruling completely alone, right? Well, scrap that assumption right now. That is the Hollywood version, and it is 100% false. The reality is going to hit hard. Ruling alone is a total myth. To even survive, these guys have to build incredibly complex, seriously fragile networks. Basically, if they don't buy loyalty, they don't survive. It's literally that simple. Look at this concept from political theory dating back to 1978. It hits the nail on the head. Even the most ruthless, terrifying autocrats share one massive secret. They are terrified of flying solo. Running a modern nation means they need personnel, they need accomplices. They absolutely cannot do it alone. So that brings us to section 1, the distraction. Let's talk about why we've been measuring power completely the wrong way. We really need to shatter our old paradigms here. If we want to understand how dictators buy loyalty, we have to toss out our usual metrics. In Western democracies, sure, you measure power by looking at elections or political parties. But try applying that to post-colonial Africa. Total trap. You're going to completely miss the real story. Over there, real power sits exclusively in executive cabinets, and the ultimate metric isn't a political party, it's ethnicity. To put this in perspective, think about the number 0.38. That is the dismal global power score for the parliaments tracked in this study. A real functioning parliament scores near a 1. So a 0.38, they don't legislate, they're an illusion. They are pure theater designed specifically to distract outsiders. Because here's the golden rule. Where laws are weak, raw power takes over. The real action, the lucrative contracts, the state-owned oil money, the actual distribution of wealth, none of that happens on the parliament floor. All of that is locked strictly inside the executive cabinet. If you're not in the cabinet, you have zero power. Which leads us to section 2, the secret currency. So, how do you actually get a seat at that immensely powerful table? Let's totally ditch the academic jargon for a second. In this context, ethnicity isn't just about culture or language. It is cold, hard cash. It's the ultimate currency for patronage. Autocrats use these cabinet seats to buy off rivals, literally purchasing life insurance against military coups.
Take Uganda's President Museveni as a perfect example. He couldn't just hand all the top jobs to his own ethnic group, the Westerners. If he did, boom, he would have been overthrown immediately. He was forced to bring the rival Baganda ethnic group right into his inner executive cabinet. He had to buy their loyalty just to save his own skin.
But, you can't just hand a rival power and walk away. That's way too dangerous. So it becomes this perpetual high-stakes game of musical chairs. Dictators like Zaire's Mobutu would constantly fire and reshuffle their ministers. Keep them dizzy, keep them moving. You can never let one single ethnic client sit in a powerful ministry long enough to hoard enough resources to strike back.
Now on to section 3, decoding the matrix.
Proving this hidden matrix existed took some monumental effort from the researchers. When you break it down, over a 45-year period, 86% of the countries they looked at were strict non-democracies, completely autocratic, meaning standard democratic data, like voter turnout, is totally useless here. They had to invent a completely new way to measure power.
Now, what's really interesting about their approach is the sheer painstaking scale of it. They basically acted like data hackers. Step 1, dig up over 4 decades of obscure executive cabinet rosters. Step 2, totally bypass those fake single-party political labels. Step 3, individually trace the precise ethnic roots of thousands of ministers. Literally no one had mapped power this deep before.
Check this out, 30. That is the number of distinct micro-ethnic categories they mapped in the Democratic Republic of Congo alone. They didn't just guess North versus South. They tracked the exact micro-factions to see exactly who was buying off whom. The data is breathtakingly precise. And 1,445? This isn't a guess, guys. This is the raw number of individual minister records dissected just for Cameroon. They proved it. The cabinet matrix is real, it's highly systematic, and it runs entirely on ethnic power sharing. This is hard, undeniable data.
All right, finally, Section 4, the flaw in the code, or, as I like to think of it, the blind spot.
And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate conflict in this kind of research. The old method relied on broad, subjective expert guesses, super biased, lacking nuance. This paper, it finally gives us hard, objective data. But, and there's always a but, its fatal flaw is that it only tracks people with official printed titles. Objective data completely misses the invisible. I'm talking about the ghosts who actually pull the strings. The wives, unlisted family members, the military strongmen who stay in the barracks but essentially hold a gun to the president's head, shadow advisors, foreign corporate interests. The cabinet matrix we just explored is very real, but these invisible forces, they operate entirely off the books. Which leaves us with this final, kind of unsettling thought to wrap up this explainer. The data brilliantly exposes the official matrix of power. It absolutely proves autocrats never rule alone. But if hard data only illuminates the people standing in the light, who is really running the shadows?